I was actually a trash jar woman. I had 2.5 years worth of waste in a single jar. I still have this jar. I keep it in my bedroom as a symbol for really my metamorphosis as an activist and the phases that I've been in my activism. There was a time where I was very rigid and extreme with my activism. I'm so grateful for that period because it really got me to intimately connect with waste and to learn how to eliminate it as much as possible. And now where I feel I'm at as an activist is one who embraces more balance, one who acknowledges that we don't live in a perfect world. We do live on linear economy. That's where we stand right now, where items are made not to last. There's planned obsolescence, so things will break, and where do they go? To the landfill. So this is a very real part of life. I have embraced this in my life to where I'm not as rigid. I don't create as much guilt within myself if I slip here and there. But all of that being said, what I did learn from that extreme period of the 2.5 years is what I now call the two-step method to reducing your waste.
That was Marina Qutab, lifestyle blogger and creator of the Zero Waste Kit, and this is episode 24. Welcome to the Brave Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Lynn, founder of Sistership Circle and author of Open Your Heart and The Art of Leading Circle. I'm the mother of 2 girls, an 8 on the Enneagram, aka the Challenger, happily married to my business partner, Brent, love connecting with nature, and have put in well over 10,000 hours circling with other women. On this podcast, we will explore how to embody the brave woman so that you can take action on your dreams and desires, unapologetically speak your truth, and live life on your own terms. Grab a seat and a cup of tea, and let's get started.
The Brave Woman Podcast is brought to you by Sistership Circle, a worldwide organization that offers leadership training for women to start their own women's circles. Do you feel called to start a women's circle, or are you currently leading one and want to make it even better? Jean Shinoda Bolin, author of The Millionth Circle, said that the opposite of patriarchy is circle, and the tipping point for change is when we have 1 million circles on the planet. It's true. When women gather, magic happens. Women's circles are the new yoga, with stars like Jennifer Aniston coming out publicly that she's been in a women's circle for years. If you've been wanting to start a circle to bring women together in your community because you desire connection and a place to belong, or you have an existing business and want to create more community around you, then Sistership Circle has a free book for you to get started. This book will simplify the process and inspire you to get out there and put your circles on the map. To get started today, go to sistershipcircle.com/podcast-book. You'll see the clickable link at the bottom of this episode's show notes. And now, on to our show.
Oh, yay! Hello, everyone. We've got Marina here, and we met actually right before I left for Costa Rica. She came over with another sister to my house. And our mutual friend was like, oh my God, you guys need to know each other. And when she told me that Marina was this EcoGoddess, I was like, ooh, yes. Let's go into that conversation on my podcast. So here we are. I am so excited. Thank you, Marina, for being here. And I would love for you to just share, what does it mean to be an EcoGoddess? Let's actually start with your big mission and purpose on this planet.
Thank you so much, Tanya. It's such a pleasure to converse with you today and to work together. When I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, yes! I've been meeting more and more amazing women that inspire me and fill me up with joy and remind me of my mission on this planet. So my mission is to empower people to live more in alignment with the planet, to live more in alignment with their highest, most vibrant selves, their healthy selves that wakes up daily and is remembered or is filled with remembrance of who they are and why they are here. I came to this path. I've always been an earth lover, but it was actually when I was 10 years old that I really had a wake-up call that led me to where I am today. So growing up as an earth lover, I grew up in the inner city. Naturally, I spent a lot of time outside hugging trees and spending time with insects and just being the nature girl and the earth lover. And when I was 10, my father surprised our family with a trip to his homeland of Pakistan to visit his family for the first time and to spend time with all of these cousins that I had never met. And so I grew up watching a lot of Bollywood, and I thought that it would kind of be like a Bollywood experience where I would find a young romance. I'd be wearing a lot of colorful clothes, and it would just be like that. It was very much like that in terms of the clothing and really the vibrant culture. But what I was not expecting was to have this awakening of how privileged I was to wake up and live in a place that had an infrastructure for recycling, an infrastructure for trash. When I visited there, I was just so surprised by how much trash there was and how the trash decorated each street like an inescapable disease. And on top of that, I had never witnessed extreme poverty like I did in Pakistan. And I was so moved by this one particular person. It was a mother, and she was holding children, and she was so thin. And I remember just sobbing in the car and feeling so much sorrow and grief for what I had been exposed to. The real catalyst, which is kind of a funny anecdote, but it really was the most powerful thing on this journey to Pakistan, was I became ill. I had a lot of congestion, and so I blew my nose into a tissue one night, and in my tissue was black. It was black soot. And I went up to my mom and I was like, "What is this?" And she was like, "Oh, that's just the air pollution." And I was so shocked that she said it so casually, so matter of factly. I even said that to her, like, how can you say that? This is our planet. And so that tissue sitting in the palm of my hand would be the catalyst for change in my life, to be the change that I wish to see in the world. And it was that simple realization of our actions impact our environment, and they can be positive or negative actions, right? Example of a positive is when you bring a reusable mug to a coffee shop and then someone in the back of the line sees that and they're like, hey, that's something I could do. That seems pretty easy. So that trip when I was 10 really did set the stage for me. I came home and I started a Save the World journal where I would write about things that I witnessed in my school or in my community that I really felt inspired to change. I took this to banning styrofoam trays in my high school, and this is kind of just the activist journey that I led of seeing things, symptoms of an unhealthy society, a linear economy, and then wanting to challenge them. And I consider my presence online now, EcoGoddess, an extension of my childhood journal of wishing to fight for the planet, to fight for people, and to stand beside people and inspire them to realize that we are given this precious gift of the planet and of the earth, and how can we live in symbiosis with it rather than against it, to where we harm not just the planet but each other and our health. That kind of ties into my whole mission. I feel so much gratitude for that travel experience that I had, because you can watch a documentary, you can hear of experiences through people, but actually being there to witness it at such an impressionable age was life-changing.
Save the World journal at 10. Oh my God, I love it. We can all create a journal like that, right? The way that we can all contribute to saving the world. Wow, what an amazing little 10-year-old you were. The goddess said, all right, she's got a mission.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. Now, here you are creating a blog. You've got a YouTube channel. You've got this really large growing following. I was checking out the YouTube channel. Let's talk about razors. It's your most popular YouTube video with 1.9 million views, all about razors. So why is this so popular? Like, what's the deal with razors?
That's such a great question, and that always is something comical for me to just witness of how that's my most popular video. I think the main reason why this is so popular is because like many single-use products in our lifestyle, they end up in landfills, they end up in our oceans, and they really impact our environment. And razors is an everyday product that a lot of people use, both men and women. I used to go through razor blades, the disposable plastic ones, all the time. It came to a point where I had basically switched everything in my lifestyle to a compostable version or a more sustainable version. And I was just looking at my razor and I was like, oh my God, you're all plastic. And so I was like, there has to be alternatives out there. And of course there is, and it's called the safety razor. And when I first thought of myself using a safety razor, it scared the crap out of me. It seemed really sharp. It seemed super unfriendly, and there's great branding and marketing that go into those disposable ones of having colors, and they just look friendly. They feel friendly in your hand. So I put my lifestyle to the test and I challenged myself to make the switch. And after I'd used it for a few months, I was shocked by how easy it was and how seamless the transition was. And so that inspired me to create a video because I imagine probably a lot of people out there had the same fear as I did. And disposable razors, I wish I had the stat on the top of my head. I say it in the beginning of my video, but let's just think how many people there are on Earth. Millions of these plastic disposable razors end up in the landfill, in the ocean. So making this simple switch, you not only are helping the environment, but you also are saving a lot of money because there's so much money that goes into buying those razors every single few months. So I made this video and the reaction was exactly what I was hoping, which was for people to be like, thank you, finally someone made a how-to video. I had no idea how to use it and I was really afraid to use it. I think that's likely why it was widely shared, and I kind of made the video in a very casual, kind of comical way too, and I think that spoke to people of lightening the mood of it's just hairy armpits or it's just hairy legs. We can tackle this, you guys. And I also made a note to mention in the video that if you're wanting to embrace that hairiness, please do. Society conditions us to be so clean and look like the models do, which is like flawless skin. And I'm all about embracing that body hair, especially with having my ethnic roots. My hair is quite dark, so I made sure to mention that in the video. But for me personally, I do like to shave my armpits. That was the main goal of it. That was kind of the key shots in the video too, is like, here's my armpit and this is how I'm going to shave it. So I think that's probably why it really resonated with a lot of people. It's cool to see how many people are watching that. It's weird to think like almost 2 million people have seen that.
Right. Wow. There's something about like that's very vulnerable, right? Like shaving your armpit. 2 million people have seen your armpit, right? I think you just brought in something that's really valuable here of you brought in some fun and play and humor to something that could feel really vulnerable. There's so many women listening to this podcast who want to become more visible, who want to use their voice and are terrified of creating a video of themselves. So let's talk a little bit about your process of getting on film, like being in front of the camera, having millions of people who've seen you embracing that and the vulnerability that comes with us. So can you share a little bit about that process?
Absolutely. That's such a beautiful question. I don't feel I've been asked before. And it's something I do want to shed light on because I feel each and every one of us has a powerful gift to share, a powerful story. And it can sometimes feel so daunting to turn on a camera and to just speak. And the best place that you can start is literally today. That's what I want to encourage people to do, is to take out your phone. It doesn't matter the device. Just speak like you're speaking to a friend. And it has taken me years to really like turn on the camera and be like, I got it. I don't have to think about it. In the beginning, it was really challenging. I would just kind of freeze on camera and I felt like I couldn't act myself. It was challenging for me, but I feel that practice and that acknowledgement of I have something to share, I have a story to share is really a powerful sentiment and antidote to take with you. With anything that I feel is challenging for me in my life, I like to try it literally that day if it's possible and just see the feeling afterwards. Even if you set a goal to make a 2-minute video, and you can talk about a topic that you're passionate about, say that it's cooking, sharing like a grandmother's recipe or something, just putting the camera on, pressing play and just speaking. My camera has like become one of my best friends in a way because I view it as one of those thousands of people that's sitting there in their home and watching me. And one of my extensions of my mission is to build that global community and that tribe, and to someday meet some of these beautiful people, to host meetups and masterminds, and to share ideas of how we can work together to build this sustainable world. So when I connect to that, and I imagine my camera as just the simple vehicle, the device for putting me in front of eyes that I would have never been in front of, or in front of a potential new friend, a colleague, co-creator and worker, it feels different. The energy is shifted, and I'm then just like, okay, this is just my vehicle, my avenue to spread my message beyond. But best, I think, advice that I could give is to start today, even if it feels so hard and impossible. Start with a minute, start then with 2 minutes, and then see where it takes you.
Beautiful. And yeah, you've really embodied that. It's just keep taking action, keep doing it, and you get better over time, right? You've gotten better over time.
It's so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Now, I love to just dig in a little deeper and like rolling up our sleeves for vulnerability. And something you shared with me of like kind of the next vulnerable thing for you right now is you've become kind of this famous star when it comes to how to videos, right? You want to bring more of your other gifts and other interests and other passions into your work. And there's been some feedback of just keep giving them what they want, right? Like just keep giving them the how-tos. That's what makes you popular. Don't really rock the boat, right? Which is what all of us women here is keep yourself in check, keep yourself in the box. And you're doing something really new and exciting and vulnerable next year. Can you share with us about that?
Yes, this is the first time I've ever shared this other than perhaps with my partner or my mom. But I have been a lover of music and a musician pretty much my entire life, as long as I can remember. I began classically trained on the violin, and violin was really my first love, even my first lover, I would say. I remember when I was really young, went to this show with my mom, and on stage was this young violinist. I was so mesmerized by her. I remember leaving that day and begging my mom for a violin to try it out, and it was then that I started with that instrument. And I've since moved on to singing. I've sang in a number of choirs, and in college I traveled with a group. And it wasn't until recently that I found a new instrument which has blown my mind, and that is the harp. And with this instrument, I feel like it truly is an extension of myself. As I've been playing and really improving my craft, I came to this new vision for myself, which is to utilize musical as a vehicle for societal change and to inspire people with the frequency of the notes and with the intention of love and harmony and compassion. And this vision really like sent chills up my spine. It frightened me to imagine releasing that to the world. There's always the fear of failure, or there's always the fear of people saying, "You've changed. What happened? I used to follow you for this and for that." That's been my biggest struggle actually this year, is I've posted less on social media because I've kind of gotten in my way and I've let my fear take a hold of me. In these last few months, I've seen a number of guides and mentors and spiritual teachers who have really helped me really work through that fear and just be like, you know what, I am here, world, and this is who I am. I can't be anything else. It's a hard journey for us, especially as women, to historically be treated like we're just a shiny couch in a house, where it's just like that's pretty much it has felt like that for so long for many of us who've been oppressed and basically told to be quiet. And so all of that historical trauma still surfaces today. And I feel that's why sometimes we fear shining, and it's why we fear something that's so much bigger than us. And so I do feel in this new year a commitment, and it's been like in the last few weeks, really like I'm like, okay, I'm writing it in my calendar and I'm going to do this, releasing harp meditations and embodying my harpist healer as an activist to guide people and to remind them of how beautiful this place is and why we are here and how precious it is and how we have to show up daily to support her, Mama Gaia, and all her brilliance. This is my new project, and I haven't released anything on it yet, but I feel this would be an amazing gift to your listeners of when I do release my first meditation for them to be the first to hear it. Yeah, it's scary to think of, it really is, but how can we transmute that fear into really confidence and just being like, what? If I do anything else, it will be disingenuous and authentic to who I am and who I've become. And as a creator who's been on social media from my early 20s, I just turned 26, it's really hard to look at past videos of myself, see my younger self and be like, oh shoot, I'm not her anymore. Like, how am I going to work with that? Will people not like my videos or my essence anymore? I've been repeating to myself a lot this year, it's okay to change. It's okay to evolve. The people who you will begin to attract with that evolvement are exactly where they need to be and exactly where you need to be. So to embrace that change, because it will lead you down a path that you could have never imagined. So don't stay stuck.
It's safe for me to reveal myself, says the brave woman. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So we'll have that link in the show notes, everyone, if you want to go and grab that harp meditation. And I just want to reflect to you, Marina, when I think EcoGoddess, I think harps, I think music, I think beauty, right? So for me, it really resonates when we're talking about the magnificence and beauty of Mother Earth and taking care and the harmony that we have with the planet. It just makes sense that you weave music into that. That's the evolution where we value and honor the beauty, right? And music and art are beauty, right? It's just like, that's it. So I just want to affirm, hell yes, sister, do it.
Thank you so much, sister. That means the world to receive that reflection. Yeah, sometimes people ask me, where did the concept EcoGoddess come from? I will basically shorten the version of saying that as a kid, being in wonderment of the earth and loving the earth, as I mentioned, I would get asked who my superhero was, and I could think of no other than the goddess of the earth, a woman of the earth who holds it and protects it and holds that frequency of love and compassion, even when there is darkness and anger and hate, holding that frequency. As I was creating my social media platform, I was asking myself, who do I wish to continue to embody in this lifetime? Well, my superhero. I want to embody her. That's who I wish to utilize as a tool to inspire, to really hone in on that divine manifestation of my imagination. And so that's where that name came in. I love your reflection on utilizing the music and the arts, because I feel that as well. Like the EcoGoddess is like a Renaissance woman, a knower of many things and unapologetically herself. And she creates music, she sings to the birds, she lives in the forest in this deep green ground. So I love that. Thank you for that.
So I want to go back to the beginning of the conversation. You said that you have been replacing everything to be sustainable in your life, in your household. I'm like, what? Talk about dedication and devotion to this mission and the real true embodiment of this. So what does that look like? And where do we even start? Because I'm like, oh my God, we got plastic everywhere, right? And I think a lot of women are wanting to know, like, yeah, how do I live more of a sustainable life? I mean, many are probably already. Have you eliminated pretty much all plastic? Like, where are you at in this? Give us the goods here.
Oh, I love this question. Yeah. I encourage people, if they are inspired, to go on YouTube to check out some of my older videos because I was actually a trash jar woman. I had 2.5 years worth of waste in a single jar. I still have this jar. I keep it in my bedroom as a symbol for really my metamorphosis as an activist and the phases that I've been in my activism. There was a time where I was very rigid and extreme with my activism. I'm so grateful for that period because it really got me to intimately connect with waste and to learn how to eliminate it as much as possible. And now where I feel I'm at as an activist is one who embraces more balance, one who acknowledges that we don't live in a perfect world. We do live on the linear economy. That's where we stand right now, where items are made not to last. There's planned obsolescence, so things will break, and where do they go? To the landfill. So this is a very real part of life. I have embraced this in my life to where I'm not as rigid. I don't create as much guilt within myself if I slip here and there. But all of that being said, what I did learn from that extreme period of the 2.5 years is what I now call the two-step method to reducing your waste. So what does that look like? Well, the first step is to take a look in the mirror, and you can even go to a mirror and do this and say, damn, you look sexy, but there's a way that you can look less trashy. And after you look in the mirror, go and look in your pantry, go and look in your fridge, in your car, look at your house, look at your life, and make a list of the top 3 ways that you're creating the most waste. If we can't actually visually see it and write it down, then we have no idea what direction to go when we're making a lifestyle shift like this. So that's the first step, is to look in the mirror. And I like to do the mirror exercise because it's kind of fun and just, yeah, kind of an ode to my personality and creating comedy and making light of this lifestyle shift. And the second step to this two-step method is to now start to make some moves, make the shift, and start with just one of those 3 main ways that you create the most waste. Say that I chose, this was one of my main ones, food, packaging waste when it came to food. So I chose that on my list, then I slowly started to find ways that I could find food package free. Farmers market is always your go-to. I do live on an organic farm here in Encinitas, so I do grow a lot of the food that I eat, which is an amazing way that you can begin reducing waste is just to grow a few herbs if you want. Start there. And the next way is to shop in bulk and to find grocery stores that have more produce and food items that are not packaged. I understand things have changed a little bit because of the pandemic now. There were some restrictions and regulations, but what's our best next option? Well, things that are packaged in things that are 100% reusable or recyclable, namely glass or aluminum cans. Aluminum is actually indefinitely recyclable, so it's one of those best items to find for food and things packaged in there. But that would be my recommendation for people, is to embrace that two-step method. Who am I now if not the trash jar girl? Well, I like to pursue my grocery shopping with the 90-10 rule. So 90% of what I bring in, I aim to have it completely sustainably packaged or not packaged. And for the 10%, I can allow myself that 1 bag of chips. I can allow myself the gluten-free organic waffles. And I feel it's so important to have that. And I've really embraced that as an activist. Please take care of yourself and do the things that do bring you that joy and just that happiness, if it is that waffle in the morning. If you put yourself in such a rigid box like I did, you will find yourself eventually hitting a wall and feeling yourself a little lost and like, gosh, what have I done? So I'm really grateful for that 2.5 year period. It changed my life and really gave me a new appreciation for things and a new lived in method for reducing waste. Now I embrace a bit more balance, but that 2-step method is just the go-to for reducing waste in the home and in your life.
Awesome. Well, I do have a gluten-free waffle recipe for you so that you don't have to buy it in the box. just give it to you real quick because it's super easy. 1 cup of oatmeal ground up. So these are oatmeal pancakes. Ground up oatmeal, 1 banana, 1 cup of almond milk, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and a little bit of cinnamon. Blend it up. There you go. Pancakes or waffles. They're delicious. That's all, the only kind of waffles that we make.
Oh, that sounds so good. I'll have to make it and then share it with my community and tag you.
Yeah, we'll add that onto the show notes as well for everyone who's scrambling to take notes on that. They're amazing. Yes, cool. Now, you did one of your other most popular videos is about going zero waste at Walmart. It's like, can the two things exist together? So tell us a little bit about that process in that video.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mentioned to you guys that I have the musical side and the comedy side of myself. And as I was thinking of content to create for my platform, where can I be in my natural element? Well, just doing like a daily task. So I thought, why not show people how to shop in a common store that people have pretty much everywhere? How can we do it with a sustainable lens in mind? And because there's a Walmart right down the street from me in Encinitas, I decided to bring my reusable bags and to head over to that store to see what kind of options they had. I started with the produce section and I showed people how much was actually packaged in plastic and how, again, it shows us that sometimes it's impossible to do that sustainable lifestyle thing. It's important for me, I feel, as an activist, to remind people not to feel bad if they don't have options in their area. There are many of us who, in fact, live in food deserts, who don't have fertile, nice soil like I do in the back of my yard. Having that privilege, it's important to acknowledge it and to offer that sentiment of, if you don't have this in your area, it's okay, do your best. So what I did at Walmart is I found the produce items that were unpackaged and tried to find them as local as possible, organic if possible. Just from being on an organic farm, it's given me a new appreciation for what that means. I really do try to shop as organic as possible. I aim to find all of these items package free. And for some items that I knew I would absolutely use during the week, like for example, salad, if I didn't have a farmer's market near me and I couldn't grow lettuce, I would get the big salad bin. So rather than choosing salad packaged in a plastic bag, I chose the salad in a container, something that you could reuse or you could easily recycle, whereas bags are much harder to recycle in our mainstream recycling system. So bringing back that idea of, if it is packaged, how can I find the most sustainable packaging? And if you're ever in a store, just try to ask yourself that question first before making a purchase of, should I get the one in this packaging or this packaging? So I did that for a lot of the aisles from the store, starting with the produce and then going into herbs and spices, chips, canned food items, and things like that. And I was pleasantly surprised to see not only how much organic and fair trade items they had, but also items that you can recycle that are in packaging, such as the late July chips that come in a TerraCycle recyclable bag. That was really cool to see. Those chips have chia seeds in them. If you are in Walmart and you're looking for chips, those are a really great option. You just save the bag and you can send it to TerraCycle for them to upcycle and repurpose into something really cool. So yeah, I was really happy that that video resonated with a lot of people, and it touched me that a lot of people who commented said, this is my only grocery store, my only option near me. So thanks for kind of speaking to us, speaking to the people who often are left out of the sustainability conversation. And as we are in this transformative year of really embracing more of the anti-racism movement and learning how we can better every aspect of our life, for me as an activist, it is important to not gatekeep that sustainability and to keep it open for other perspectives of, what is your lifestyle like? This is where I live. This is my little bubble. What is yours like? How can I support you? I felt like that Walmart video was the first, I hope, of many that can open conversations like that. Yeah, just be open to new perspectives and how we can support each other in our sustainability effort.
You've mentioned about your following and building a community, and for so many of the women listening are wanting to build a following, stepping into purpose, have our own business. You've mentioned a couple things that I want to highlight and also would love to hear more from you. Some of the things I think that have had you grow a following. One of the things I hear is bringing in your personality and specifically your humor. Another thing is you just take action and don't think so much, and just that consistency, the practice is what then pays off. I also heard of thinking of creative ideas and like really getting into your audience's world. Walmart, the razor, it's like things that kind of people are thinking about. Anything else that you think has contributed to your videos being viral, your following growing, building?
Yes, all those bullet points that you mentioned are like my go-to tips for people when they're looking to build a community online. Another suggestion that I have is together we are stronger and together we go farther. So when you're going into an industry that you're really passionate about and you want to grow in it, find the creators in that industry and become friends with them. That was like the best thing that I could have done when I first started was I would reach out to, namely it was mostly women in this sustainability space. I reached out to people all around the world, YouTubers that inspired me, and I said, "Hey, would you be open to getting on a call with me? I would just love to meet you." So I made friends with all these really awesome YouTubers and now huge YouTube celebrities, and having their support and just sharing who I am, my vision for my own channel was instrumental in building a community. Always friendship over competition. That's what I say is like when you see someone's channel that inspires you, sometimes we feel like shrinking because we're like, oh, I never could have that, or they have this and that, and we go into that kind of scarcity fear mode. Try to transmute that into inspiration and honoring that they've worked so hard to build what they have and they've worked so hard to get where they are today, and honor them by starting a conversation, by sending them light and being like, hey, you inspire the crap out of me, can we get on a call? And trying that, it really was so helpful for me, watching other people's videos and seeing where they go with the sustainability conversation, if it is in sustainability or the conversation in your industry and in your movement. Follow the trends, follow the conversations, and then see where you can take those conversations and make them your own. Where can you add your own experience and your lifestyle? That has been likely the most powerful way that I've built community, is kind of just wiggling myself in there like a duck, wiggling myself into the pond with all these other amazing ducks that are chirping beautiful music and loud songs and being like, I have a small voice right now, but I do want to be here. I'm excited and I want to be a part of this. I'm a big fan of metaphors, but I thought I would mention that.
Yeah, I love that. That's what we talk about all the time at Sistership Circle is the power of collaboration. And if you want to grow your circles, you want to grow your community, it's about reaching out to the other leaders. And I'm sure that people are thinking, well, wait a second, did they take a call with you? Why would they talk to me? I'm that small voice chirping amongst the big hawks and eagles. Like, why would someone take that call with me? They're busy, they're popular. So what was your experience? Like, what do you think that was? That did everyone say yes? Probably not, right? But what do you think that was that had some of these influencers say yes to you?
Totally. It's a really great question. Yes, I definitely got some no's. I still get no's. I'm a big fan of like in the moment, if I'm excited about something, I've mentioned this in this conversation, act on it. Do it right now and try it. That's what I would do when I was feeling in that excited frequency. It was so genuine and authentic to myself. I would send a voice note or a message or an email and really like where focus goes, energy flows. I so wholeheartedly believe in that. For the people who did respond, and I really felt my authenticity and my energy, I would get responses, and I would just get on a Zoom call with them, or we would talk even over FaceTime because a lot of the gals that I connected with were actually in the UK. What I feel is important to mention is before reaching out, I did spend a lot of time creating at least 5 to 10 videos or 5 to 10 pieces of content, even more if that feels good for you, so that you can give yourself a base and a platform. You're not just a seed in the wind, you are planted and you're grounded and you've shown commitment for wanting to be in this space and wanting to grow. So I feel this was an essential part before or prior to reaching out to people, was to have some basis prior. When people see that, they're like, oh, this person isn't just trying to get my followers, or they're not just trying to like get clout or whatever it is. They're really passionate about this topic. I will connect, sure, why not? And in terms of my language and what helped me, it's a hard one. I think you just have to be authentic to your voice, and you can even be vulnerable in it and be like, this was a hard thing for me to do, but I just have been so attracted to your vibe and the content that you do. So vulnerability wins. Be vulnerable and share what's from your heart. If a call or something like that feels daunting to request or offer, you could just first send them messages, show them appreciation, and be like, oh, I love this post, like fangirl them for a while, which is what I've done for some of the larger YouTubers, is just like honor them and watch their stuff for a while, show them that you're there and that you're watching and you're listening, and then make your way into, would you be open to XYZ?
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that process. Thank you for just embodying the brave woman who wiggles her way in. Yeah, it's so valuable to hear this and to see how someone gets to that place of having a successful following and going from A to Z. There's a humility that I heard, there's an authenticity, vulnerability, and really an honoring. And you're not coming, this is, I think, key, not coming from this place of I need or want something, or I'm trying to take something from you. People feel that energy. There's a genuineness of I want to connect. I'm super passionate about being in this space, and I want to connect with the leaders here.
I love that you say that. And yeah, I remember like I've always been in the world actually of communications and marketing, like internships and college and beyond, even jobs. One of the most powerful things that one of my managers at the time said me was, and this is hard to believe sometimes, but in the world there are marching orders and there's like a hierarchy, a natural hierarchy for life. So she told me, always respect the hierarchy, always respect your elders, the people who are higher than you in your career, your chosen career path, because they didn't just get there. They spent a lot of time and energy and hard work getting there. Hearing that, I was probably 22 or 21 at the time. I really embraced that fully into whatever I did, to have reverence for my practice and what I chose to pursue before I sent any message, to ask myself, is this good to send right now? Is this the right time? Or should I work on this first? Or should I do this first? And so the last concept that I wanted to bring in with that and tie in is patience. Patience will take you so far. Don't focus on the numbers. Just show up and create those videos. For me, the longest time, like seriously, maybe half a year, I would have 10 or 15 people that watched my videos, but I would just keep going. And I just kept doing it. And that consistency and just showing up, I think, is really what spoke to the few influencers that did say, yeah, sure, we'll get on a call, because they saw, oh, this girl's trying so hard. Like, she just keeps going, even though she has a small following right now, which is kind of funny. So don't focus on those numbers and have patience. Sometimes people get lucky and they create a following in a year of like 18,000. Sometimes it takes years, like myself, and just putting in the grind, the hard work, and it feels so good then when you're at a different place in a year and you're like, man, I worked hard for that stuff. I sacrificed sleep sometimes to get there. So have patience and gentleness with yourself as you're striving for your goals, and honor that whoever you're looking at and inspired by in your career that is maybe a little farther ahead, they did get there with some serious hard work and elbow grease, and it just takes time.
Beautiful. Well, as we're coming to a close here, we have Marina's links on the show note page. You could go to EcoGoddess.com and all of her social links, so you can go and check her out. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that you want all the listeners to know? Like, final thought, or I gave you the microphone and you got to shout from the rooftops. What would you say?
The words keep coming to me: believe in yourself. It sounds maybe cliche and like something that you'd read on a postcard, but there are so many things in life that will take away from your belief in yourself. That's why it's fundamental to have your own confidence and love and belief in yourself, to work on finding the tools that will help reinvigorate that sense of self, like having a tea practice, or maybe yoga's your thing. Find the thing that helps remind you of how brilliant you are, because you'll see it time and time again. Unfortunately, there will be people who have negative opinions, or they'll try to cut you down, and they'll try to take away your light and to stop you from growing. When you really know it in yourself, and even on those hard days, you're like, no, this is my commitment. I am going to believe in myself. I'm the only driver of my dreams. You will get so far. You really will. It's not to say every day is easy, but having that commitment, and a commitment to yourself and belief and love in yourself, is like so powerful as any being, whether you're an activist or someone who works in finance. How can we work in this world where there are a lot of other voices? Just staying true, returning home to your own love and belief in yourself.
Thank you so much, Marina. It has been such an honor and privilege to have this conversation today. So much richness, and just we got to dive into vulnerability, and we got to learn more about how we could be sustainable and how we can join this movement that you're leading. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on the Brave Woman podcast.
Thank you so much.
If you just listened to this show, I'd love for you to leave the Brave Woman podcast an honest review. Reviews help podcasts like this one grow, making it more possible for me to devote my time, energy, and money to its production. If you take a screenshot of your review and email it to support@sistershipcircle.com, we'll send you one of our archetype activations as a thank you gift. If you like this show and have been watching for a while, or even this is the first one, I have an ask of you. This feels vulnerable, but I know I need to model the brave woman every day in as many ways as I can. Here's my ask. This podcast costs a lot of time, money, and energy to produce it. And in order for it to be sustainable over the long term, I need financial sponsorship. A simple way for you to support is by buying me a cup of coffee. Cute, huh? If everyone who listened bought me a cup of coffee for $1, $3, $5, it would cover the cost of production. So you can do this at sistershipcircle.com/coffee. Thank you so much for your love and support. Up next, do you get bad PMS and want to know how to flow with your monthly cycle? Vianney Lee and I get personal talking about our periods and how to shift the stigma around that time of the month in the next episode.